Hello, everyone. My name is Anonymous. I am a student at a university in the United States. This story happened when I was just about to finish my undergraduate studies. So I had just turned 21. This was back in 2019, and I'm from an African country. And so the summer before my final year of studies, I decided that I wanted to go back home to spend some time with my family, after being away for 4 years. When I arrived, I spent some time in my hometown. Then I traveled to another city in my country. And while I was there, my dad mentioned that he had a friend's daughter who was looking for work experience. And she was like, "Oh, okay." So we talked about that for a bit. Then I told her that I'm leaving the country in a few days. I said, "But if you send me an email, I can look over your resume and cover letter when I get back to the States." And she was like, "Okay, sure." And then her mom left, and it was just me and this girl. She sent me her resume and cover letter, so I read through them, and I was like, wow, this is actually really good. And I noticed that she didn't mention anything about starting her new job. And she said, "No, I never told you that I got a job." And I was like, wait, are you serious right now? And then she started crying, and she was like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me." And I was like, What? What are you talking about?" And then she told me that she had lied to me about everything. She lied to me about graduating from university, having a job, everything. And I was just shocked. I couldn't believe that she had lied to me. And I thought that was strange because her new job was supposed to start in January. So I asked her, "How's your new job?" And she told me that she was still looking for a job. And I was like, wait, what? I thought you already had a job. And she said, "No, I don't have a job. I'm still looking." Like she did a really good job. I made some small edits and suggestions here and there and then sent it back to her. And I asked her, "Okay, what are your plans now?" And she said that she didn't have any plans. Thank you for listening. See you next time. She called me to tell me that she had gotten a job, and I was like, no, not really. I don't think I'll be going back home until Christmas. And then she stopped calling. She got a job as a research assistant at a university in our country. And I was so happy for her. I was so excited. I was like, yes, 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 this is great. And she told me that it was great. She had a wonderful time. She met a lot of great people. And I was like, yes, that's great. She was just, helping out at her parents' shop. So I asked her, "Why don't you apply for a job?" And she told me that she had no one to help her write a CV or a resume and cover letter. And I was like, seriously, but she couldn't afford the plane ticket. And she said she had already emailed her boss, asking for some support, but she hadn't heard back from him. And she asked me if I could lend her the money. And I was like, so I didn't end up lending her the money. I told her that I wasn't able to lend her the money because I had just moved and I didn't really have any extra cash on me. And she understood, she didn't give me any crap or anything. She was like, "Okay, no problem. Thank you anyway," because most people in my country don't know how to write a resume and cover letter. So I just took out my phone and I showed her examples online and explained to her what each section on the resume means and what she should put in each section. I tried to make mine more like hers because I didn't want it to look like I was, applying for a job. I just gave her all the information that I could remember off the top of my head. And she started asking me questions about how I got my job. What does my day look like? And I was just giving her tips, because I knew that she wanted to get a job in the health sector as well. And he said she was a graduate student in the field of public health. And he thought that maybe I could take her under my wing, since I was working at the time in the health sector. And I was like, yeah, sure. So the next day, his friend and her daughter came over and they sat in the living room and small talk ensued. Then she started telling me that she had just graduated from university. She graduated with a bachelor's degree in public health. And then I told her that she needs to tailor her cover letter to the specific job that she is applying for. So a few days later, I went back to the States and I got an email from her. About 2 weeks later, I got a call from her. And then she started asking me, so when are you coming back home? Are you coming back home anytime soon? But a few weeks later, she sent me a message and she said that there was this conference that was happening in a neighboring country and she really wanted to attend. Well, fast forward to December. I was back home and I saw her and I asked her, how was the conference? Then she started telling me all the things that she wanted to do when she got back to school, like all the fun things that she wanted to do. And I was like, but you told me that you had gotten a job. Well, I won't share the rest of the story because this is already long enough. But yeah, that's all I have for today.